Hello, I'm Siri from 21SO6A, and I'm in year 6 this year. There are so many teachers in RI that I owe so much to, but I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Mrs. Eileen C. I got to know Mrs. C through council, and whenever there's a meeting with her, it is pretty likely that she'll treat us to food, oftentimes her own bakes. But what I remember as much as her food is her listening ear and words of counsel. I got to work with Mrs. C for the Raffles for SG project, which is a school-wide service movement that my council batch initiated. Being a completely new project and one of our earlier undertakings in our term, it wasn't always a smooth path, and there were quite a few things that we had to figure out along the way. As the teacher overseeing this project, Mrs. C would often call us in for chat sessions at the RLI, which she fondly calls her dungeon, to help us make sense of our experiences and walk us through our learning points. In all of our conversations along the way, she has also gotten me to reflect on various aspects of my council journey, as well as personal growth in the broader aspect. Fun fact, she has a tradition of reading children's books to us, and somehow manages to unearth profound lessons from them that can then be applied to our council journey or our lives in general. Even after I stepped down from council and after she left the school, she would still periodically drop me messages to check in on me, to ask me if I was doing okay. And it means a lot to me that she's always looking out for us. So thank you, Mrs. Yi, for being so generous with your love and mentorship. And you have been a huge pillar of support in my RI journey so far.
I'm Ruth from AO3C, 1999 to year 2000. I'd like to say hi to my GP teacher, Brina, who is now my colleague. You've met GP, initially it was a dreadful subject to most of us, but you've made it so manageable, and we may not appreciate what you've done at that point of time. But then after I became a GP teacher myself, and then I think back about your lessons and I realized, oh, they make so much sense. Thank you for being so caring, even as a colleague, and truly you've taught me so many things beyond just my student days, in fact until now. So thank you.
Hello, I'm Ao Yong Waikit from the RI class of 2004, class 4E, and the RJC class of 2006, class 2A01B. I was active in Raffles Players, and I served in the RI Prefectorial Board under the Prefect Master, Mr. Paul Lim, during the tenure of Headmaster, Mr. Wong Siu Hung. I'd like to convey my appreciation to three specific groups of teachers. So firstly, I'd like to pay tribute to the Raffles Players teachers who have since retired or left the school, especially Ms. Kwa Seok Wee, who tirelessly mentored generations of drama club students and kept meticulous records of all our drama productions. Also to Mr. Otto Fong, co-teacher IC of Players, and I was his science rep. We've kept in touch for almost 2 decades now. Secondly, I'm thankful to the tutors of the humanities program during my RJC years, especially Mrs. Nicola Perry, who was my civics tutor and a stage club enthusiast. So thank you, Mrs. P, for imparting your love of literature and theatre. You brought such sparkle to lit classes. Also a shout out to Mr. Philip McConnell, Mr. Jeffrey Purvis, Mr. Jamie Reeves, Mr. Michael Rollison, and Mr. Edmund Kwok. You've made such an indelible impact on all of us in the Humans program. And thirdly, I'd like to acknowledge the good work of all the current RI and RJC teachers, particularly Mr. Joseph Wong, who taught me history, Mrs. Patricia Nathan, who taught me English, and of course, Mr. Shirao Yap, whose unstinting passion for the RI archives has been such a motivation. So thank you, teachers, for being true exemplars of the Rafflesian spirit. And I'm sure you'll continue to inspire future generations to come with hope for a better age. Auspicia Melioris Ewi.
Hi, I'm John from the RI class of 2002 and RJC 2004. Looking back, I'm really grateful for the 3 wonderful form teachers that I had during my time in RI. I remember Mr. Alan Su, who was my form teacher in Sec 1 and 2. Mr. Alan Su was someone who just wanted us to grow up as young men of character, as young gentlemen, made this abundantly clear to us, but also took time to speak to us individually, myself included, on numerous occasions toward that end. I remember Mr. Eric Lee, who was my form teacher in Sec 3 and Sec 4. Mr. Lee was such a wonderful role model. He was a father figure to the international scholars, of whom we had several in our class. And with each one of us, he was always patient, kind, and encouraging, and we respected him tremendously for that. And of course, Mr. Keith Prince, who was my civics tutor in year 5 and year 6. Civics lessons with Mr. Prince were always a blast, with many life lessons abundantly thrown in. And I think above all, he just wanted us to be passionate in what we did and critical in the way we thought. So thank you to my 3 form teachers and to all our Rafflesian teachers. Happy Teachers' Day. Thank you.